We have returned for the third episode of the Beta Cast. In this podcast, we're going to be discussing more video game topics that are impacting the industry today. And on the cast today, we have me, John. I'll be your host, and then we have the all-powerful Noah.
How's it going?
And we have a guest today from the Alpha Cast, Brett. Brett, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Before we jump into the topics, I'm going to throw it around the room, and we're going to see what these guys are playing. So, Noah, what games are you playing right now?
Same as last week, apart from Oddworld New and Tasty Theaters. I'm playing Don Bremen Cricket and Dragon's Crown as well. I'll just talk about Oddworld because I've already said what I need to say about the other two. It's an alright game so far. I've only put about an hour into it. It looks good. That has that going for it, but the controls take some time getting used to, and the enemy design is alright, but it's nothing spectacular. It's a weird mix of humor and like gore. Like, it's quite a dark world. So, I mean, you're playing Abe, who's an escaped slave essentially, and you're obviously being chased by enemies all the time, and they're obviously the baddies, and you end up killing them by like dropping swords on them or dropping rocks on them, and your guy laughs, and it's just such a weird mix of such a dark world, but then try and implementing humor into it. It
seems
doesn't work for me.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty weird mix.
Yeah, that's weird.
I seen it on the PlayStation Store, and haven't been sure if I wanted to buy it yet, but it almost seems worth buying just to see the humor and the darkness kind of mixed together like that.
Yeah.
So Brett, what games you been playing?
Right now, I'm playing Majora's Mask. Why I'm playing it now is because I didn't play it when I was a kid. I owned it, but I didn't really get into the 3D mechanic. I didn't really understand the world, and I'm playing it now because it's probably my most anticipated game of all time. And when I got the Wii U, I was like, all right, the first thing I'm gonna do is go to the Wii Virtual Console and download Majora's Mask. And I like it. It's a good game. A lot of weird side quests, a lot of quirky characters. The masks are really cool, and how to get them is really cool. But it hasn't captured me like Majora's Mask did. I'm sorry, Ocarina of Time did. Maybe it's because I played it so much later than I first played Ocarina of Time. I don't know. It's still a great game nonetheless, and I mean, it's a Legend of Zelda game. It's really weird. It's really dark. It's somber. Any like down, bad mood kind of word, you name it, because it's how the game is. But that's what makes it so special and so unique.
Right.
And I'm also playing some Mario Kart right now. I've put well over 30 hours into it, and I plan on putting well over 30 hours into it again and again, because the game is just so good. Like, I keep going back to it because it's so much fun. It's so addicting. You can play online with anybody. I like to play with a couple of the writers. I like to get more carts by competing in the cups and getting 3 stars in each stage, which is like winning every race and essentially having a perfect circuit. And the game it's always consistent. It exudes quality, and that's what I love about the series. And I'm still chugging through to Sky 3. I believe there are 8 chapters in the game. I'm on chapter 6 with a couple missions left until I get to the end of the chapter. It's definitely growing on me. At one point, I was kind of getting sick of the dialogue and the cutscenes. They were taking too long. But now the characters, they're developing more. They're becoming more fleshed out. And I'm really starting to appreciate who they are and what they actually represent more. And I'm really starting to appreciate the writing as well, because it's silly, but it's not too silly in the sense that, oh, this is kind of childish and it's not for me. It's silly in the sense that, like this is such a weird game. Like, only Disgaea could do this. Like, you're in a high school, and like they're depicting seniors as like the almighty gods and all powerful beings, but like, it might have been like, oh, they're just seniors, big deal. Right. But like, it's what makes the game so unique and so funny. and I really like it so far, and I'm hoping to really feel that same way about the next one in the series, which I will be reviewing when it comes out. And lastly, I'm playing MLB 14 The Show. I just keep going back to the series. It's one of my favorite series out there, particularly sports franchises, because it's always consistent, and I'm a huge baseball fan, and I'm a sucker for any game that allows me to create myself, whether it's an avatar or something. And at sports games, when you can create your own player, I am absorbed in that, where I can like be a professional and rise up in the minor leagues and eventually make it to the major leagues, win an MVP or win a championship. It's so addicting because each game to me it's like a whole new experience, and I learned from it, and that's what makes the series so special for me. And I've been playing it since it launched in 2006, the MLB The Show franchise, and I never get sick of it. I get put well over 100 hours into the series, and it'll still feel fresh every time for me.
That's the thing. I had the same feelings about Don Bradman cricket. It's the first game to actually implement a career mode into it, and cricket fans have been wanting that for ages. I know I'm going on about Don Bradman cricket again, but I need to talk about it for a little bit. But a career mode just adds so much to it, because it adds like a sense of your own personal touch to it, that you're starting out as nobody and you're working your way up, and you're working your way up into the major teams, and contributing and becoming player of the match or MVP, and it just gives you such a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, they actually have that. They've been having that for a while in the FIFA games as well, where you start off as like you're not really good at all, and you have to like there's all these accomplishments you have to do to actually get better, and then you can get better contracts to play for bigger teams, and then you can you have the chance of getting these accomplishments, and they come easier to you. That's one of the games I'm playing right now, and the career mode is so much fun, and it's cool because after you do the career mode as a player, you can retire and then become a manager, and you can manage any club anywhere, and then you can start doing international teams. So I think that's a pretty cool aspect in any kind of sports game.
That's a really nice touch.
Yeah, I agree. I think any sports game nowadays have to have something to where you can make your own character and kind of move throughout the ranks.
There's just so much customization. Like, I mean, with the MLB games, like, I can customize my own batting stance. I can pick my walk-up song. I can pick what I mean is like batting gloves. It's just little touches that add so much to make it most appealing to me, and makes it most like me. And that's what I love, because I'm just like, oh, like this guy he's built big, and he has a batting stance similar to what I normally do when I'm playing baseball with friends or something. And I feel like I'm just so much more immersed in the game. And that goes for any sports game, really, of any NHL, NBA, Madden, MLB. Unfortunately, we don't have cricket games over here, but I mean, how much Noah really praises them, I imagine they're great games.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and along with FIFA, I'm actually still playing the Destiny beta. I don't think I'll ever get tired of this game. It's so much, even with the limited material that's in the game so far. Besides the Crucible, there's only 2 multiplayer maps to go on, but it's still fun. There's really not a lot to the story right now in the beta, but I still play it just about every day. So I'm really looking forward to that to come out September 9th. And I actually started playing Battlefield 4 again. I went with Battlefield 4 instead of Call of Duty because I kind of go back and forth. But I went Battlefield this time because I like the game modes. Like Conquest is really large, and the games take a long time, and you can be losing for like half the say about 80% of the whole match, and you can come back at the last half. So I like how the games are never really over until they're over. So I started picking that up again. And I'm not sure if I'm going to get the hardline one, but I guess we'll wait and see. And we'll jump into our first topic of the day. Pretty good one here. Do delays kill video games? And Noah, I'm going to let you start this one.
Well, yes and no, because obviously there's a sense of hype that obviously the marketing team tried to build up for a game, and to spend say roughly about a year trying to build up a game, and then to just say, oh no, sorry, we're delaying it. Everybody's just like anticipation for it drops, and they move on to something else, and they kind of forget about that game. And so in that sense, it can delay it. But then, if you see it from a development point of view, you'd rather a game be delayed and then like become what it was expected to be when they had it in the initial stages, than them releasing it when they wanted to, and it being a bit early and not the finished product and just letting everybody down. So I can see both sort of like stances on it, but yeah, overall I'd say that it does kill some video games, depending on if they're a series. Because I mean, you've got Witcher 3, the delay won't kill it. It's going to be a great game and everybody's going to buy it. However, if this was the first Witcher, it could have ended the series because nobody would have really known what it was about.
Yeah, and actually, when The Last of Us, when I had the chance to pre-order that, I think they delayed it twice, 2 or 3 times, and then I pre-ordered it, and then like a year later, I finally picked it up. So I can see how delaying it can kill the hype for sure, but I agree with you on like a series it won't really kill, but also if the game is, if it's I guess marketed in the right way to, it seems big enough on its own, like The Last of Us was, because it's obviously it's not a series, but it was still delayed a few times, but it killed. Everyone liked it, and people still like it. I mean, they're making a remastered version, so I think I agree with you on the it won't kill like a series of games, but it could ruin like just a game by itself.
Yeah, I think that the thing that it does is it reduces sales. With The Last of Us, probably not much, but I'm sure they lost a few sales because people just sort of opted out. But then after all the praise that they got, I'm sure they dropped back on. So I guess you'd rather have a really good game that comes out when they want it to come out, like after postponement, than it release early and get bad scores and then that just be the end of it.
Yeah, I would say delays both do hurt video games, but they also benefit. On a personal standpoint, I waited for a Diablo 3, and my hype was through the roof for that game. But it got delayed numerous times. And I was like, alright, like I'm getting sick of this. When is this game going to come out? And it's still a great game nonetheless, but it didn't live up to my astronomical heights. I mean, that could be unfair, but it's just, I felt annoyed because, like, oh, this game's going to come out anytime soon. Nope, just kidding. It's getting pushed back for some other thing. I mean, look at Watch Dogs. I mean, personally, I'm not that excited about that game anymore. Also, I'm still waiting on that Wii version, which I don't know if I'm ever going to get that. So I'm sure it's a great game. People talk about it. It's a very good game. But that got delayed a long time, and they say they still want to add more content, but from what they originally said, it seemed like it was finished. But now I'm just like, oh, it seems like a good game. I'll play it, but now I'm not like, oh my gosh, I need to play this game. Whatever. I mean, Watch Dogs is a prime example, but whatever the game may be, I mean, it's absurd. But at the same time, look at Battlefield Hardline. Like that just got pushed back to next year, but that's good because I would not see the game competing with Call of Duty or other games in the insanity of fall. And they don't want the same consequences and the same bugs and issues that destroyed Battlefield 4 and really ruin that game. And they can fix whatever the issues the game may have. I mean, don't put out a game that's broken. Delay it a couple months, fix whatever needs to be fixed, and make it the best game it can possibly be.
Yeah, I agree that pushing Hardline back till next year was a good idea. Just because, I mean, it came out, and I got to play the beta, and it wasn't too, like, it wasn't like groundbreaking or anything, but it was fun to me. So it's kind of exciting that they are going to take a few more months to put it out to see if they, I guess, kind of redo things and maybe add something here and there. So it actually makes me almost think about buying it more than I was, because they're going to take the time to, okay, this is what's wrong, we know what's going on, so we can fix it and we can make it better. So
Well, that's the thing. If you delay a game, you can always get those like consumers back. But if you release it when it's not finished and people buy it, you're gonna get bad reviews and nobody else is gonna purchase it. Whereas if you delay it, people will still then come on board just later down the track.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree. And I guess some people can think of it this way, like Brett was saying, he was so excited for Diablo 3 and it was through the roof. But then I guess if it's, say they could push it back a few months, maybe you think they are fixing things, and so maybe your hype is even more. But then it comes out, and then now your hype is so much because you knew they pushed it back to make fixes that your hype is way too much and you're over expected, and then now it's going to live down because you know they pushed it back to fix it. So I mean, I guess that's a way of thinking as well. Yeah, and then with that, we're going to jump to our next one. This is a pretty hot topic right now. Are females misrepresented in the gaming industry? And Noah, I'm going to let you start this one as well.
Oh, it's a controversial topic, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. I don't think they're necessarily misrepresented. I mean, obviously there are some developers who aren't catering to female gamers, but I think the problem doesn't really lie with the developers. It lies with society in general. And I don't mean to go on one of those rants, but the way that females are having to like sort of live up to a certain standard from when they're very young, and just to be socially acceptable, like with makeup and just to be objectified so often, it kind of draws females away from the gaming sort of industry from a young age, which is where you're going to get all those females going into the gaming industry and creating those games that will then cater to female gamers. Because I'm sure the reason why there aren't a lot of games directed at the female audience is because we have a very male dominant sort of ratio in the gaming industry, and I doubt a lot of them want to even touch a female like character in case they're either making them too sexualized, like just objectifying them, or being too patronizing. And I think only a female should really create a female character or inspire that, because otherwise it's just on sort of fragile ground otherwise as a developing team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it in the sense, look at Brianna Wu. She wrote this excellent piece on females in the games industry, and they're not treated the same way that males are, and with the same respect and the same attention. And it's really a shame. I mean, you make a good point that it's tough for male dominant developers or a male's mindset to make something that caters to women, because a male and a female's mindsets are two totally different things. It's just how it is, and it's tough because I would love to see some more awesome, excuse my language, badass female characters. I mean, look at Lara Croft. She was awesome in the recent installment in the series. I mean, you can play as female Shepard in Mass Effect. There are just so many unique characters. Ellie in The Last of Us. I mean, I feel like with those recent characters, developers should really look at women in a better perspective and treat them with more respect, because they could be such inspirational or such dynamic characters full of depth that people really could, I don't want to say hop on the bandwagon, but they could, like I said before, treat women with more respect.
That's the thing. I don't want it to go into a phase where every single game has a female protagonist, because that's just going the complete opposite. You need to, if a female protagonist suits the sort of character that they were going for, then yeah, that's great. But if you just start funneling female characters into games when they're not necessarily needed, which I suppose happens now with sort of with some female characters, and they're just there as sort of like eye candy for male gamers. But if we just keep going down that route, it's not going to be good. The end result isn't going to be good. Only if they're suited for it should they be implemented.
Right. So like if like they make a game and like they thinking of like the main character and they specifically think that a woman would fit it, that would be like the game for it, and not just to put him in a game just for the sake of having a woman in a game.
Exactly. I mean, look at The Last of Us. If Ellie, if it wasn't Ellie, would that dynamic still work? Because obviously it was a relationship between a father and a daughter, and that's what the core element was. So if it was a boy instead, or if it was a female adult instead, I mean, I guess you could have the same sort of relationship, but would it have had the same effect on people?
Yeah, I don't see it would have the same effect because I feel like, I mean, alone, I care for Joel and Ellie in The Last of Us. I care for them tremendously. But because Ellie was more than just like a package for Joel to deliver in the story, like she was a daughter-like figure for Joel, and I feel like she really got through to Joel because Joel was a broken down man. I don't say heartless, but he was emotionless, and it was so awesome, so fresh to see that those dynamics of those two characters really intertwine together and create such emotion, just such a vibe, an effect, if you will, because I feel like Ellie is just such an important character, not only in the game, but I feel like Ellie could be a character that is emulated in a way that it will have the same impact later on, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think having her and as a girl is really relatable to a bunch of people, so that they're playing the game and maybe it's an older gentleman and he has a daughter, so it was more relatable to him, and I think that really having Ellie as they did with her and Joel, like their little team, I think that really made the game what it was. And then going back to Noah's point about society, I mean it's tough. I think that's a major part in the females having a tough time in the gaming industry, because society kind of looks down on them because they don't, you're not a man, you can't do it, and I think that's a really big part in females in the gaming industry.
Well, that's what it boils down to. I think if we're going to see a change, it's not up to developers, it's up to media and us, like us in general, the gaming community. We need to be more supportive of it, and media need to stop giving women like this impression that they have to suit a certain build. It's just not fair.
Yeah, I mean, times are changing now. I mean, there are more female gamers out there. There are more in-depth, more proactive female protagonists, or just side characters or alternate characters. And I think it's good because females, like you said, they have to sometimes cater to what we expect, but that's how it shouldn't be. They should be their own, very unique, one-of-a-kind character. And I truly believe that because of recent protagonists in the last decade, or recent female characters, females will now be represented better and will be treated better than they have in the past, and they will become their own unique characters.
Well, it's just going to take time. We've just got to give it time and just wait. Maybe, hopefully within the next 10 years we'll see a shift, but the likelihood is it'll probably be another 20, 30 when more generations come through and gaming is more accepted by everybody, and women can then feel free to pursue that without coming under scrutiny from media or gaming consumers, because that's probably what really takes them out of it, is the amount of abuse that some male misogynistic pigs will just insult them. It's just it's provocative.
It's sickening.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to bring up again, but that Brandon Wu article, some of the things this doesn't really relate to female characters, but it relates to females in the gaming industry and any industry for that matter. Some of the things these people said, I don't know how they were raised, but it is disgusting what some of these people will say. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Treat others with respect. Oh, she's not a good-looking journalist or whatever. It doesn't matter if she puts. I'm gonna keep that to myself. I'm gonna keep those thoughts to myself. I'm gonna respect their views. I may challenge them and say, "Oh, why do you feel this way? Why do you feel that way?" But I'm not gonna go and say something out of line or just ridiculous that makes myself look stupid, or that hurts them on an emotional level, because I feel like as a gaming community we should move past this, and it's pathetic that people are saying this. I don't know how you can say this to anybody in any industry about anything. Like, it's ridiculous.
It's a problem that comes from the internet though. When you're given just an anonymous, like nobody knows who you are, you can just insult somebody within 5 seconds and then not have to worry about it. That's where the problem does delve. That's the foundation. We have to find a way to target that just in general, because the internet's a horrible place to be. Like, if you're a certain race or a certain gender, you'll just get abused.
I mean, you can say literally anything behind a computer screen, and it'll be anonymous. And like, what is satisfying about that?
Some people, man.
I know. I think the gaming community, we are growing, as a whole, and I think we are headed in the right direction, and that everybody, will be treated with respect, and we will all be treated equally and fairly. And I really hope that, because it really angers me what people can say.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad lately. It kind of seems like it's going in the right direction, and hopefully over the next, like Noah was saying, hopefully not 20 or 30 years, but in the next, hopefully 10 years, it'll drastically change, and we kind of put it all behind us. And with that, we're going to move on to a little bit lighter topic. What is your preferred game style, first person or third person? And Brett, I'm going to let you go this one first.
Alright, honestly, it depends what type of game it is for me. I like both respectively, but I'm gonna go with first person because I feel like I can see the action, or I'm immersed in the world head on. I'm literally inside the person's body, seeing everything. And I mean, there are some excellent first person games, and I mean, while some of these games don't look great in third person, I mean, it just kind of adds to my preference of first person. But on the other side of the spectrum, there are great third person games that are very atmospheric, and you can kind of see people's reactions. It's just their natural human instincts taking over. And in a horror game or something, and like you're in a dark room, like I see, like, oh my gosh, like this. Besides me being terrified, like this person is scared. And I think that's awesome. But personally, I prefer first person.
Like, would Tomb Raider have had the same effect? Because, you go through that and she's literally dead, but just barely able to walk. And just,
oh my gosh.
That wouldn't have had the same impact if you were first person Lara Croft.
No.
You had to be third person just to see the sort of abuse, the physical torment that she had been under throughout her journey. I thought that it's a nice touch, just seeing her bit by bit just get lower and more damaged, and just cuts everywhere. It's a nice touch to add to the third person gaming thing.
Oh, I completely agree. I mean, Lara Croft, like that game is a perfect example. Like you could just see it in first person, getting tossed around or abused, and like, ow, that hurts. But like seeing her in third person, scraped, limping, crawling at times in agony, you can hear that, like that moan of pain every step she takes. And I'm just like, oh, like that. I can't even imagine being through that. It just adds such a greater effect in that regard.
Yeah, it really depends on what type of story you're wanting to tell. Whether you're wanting to tell one where it's the gamer putting into the game virtually, or whether they're wanting to tell about a certain character's story, because that's what it boils down to. Like with Skyrim and Fallout and those sort of open world first person games where you choose your character, it's all about you, the gamer, having an effect on the world. Whereas a game like The Last of Us, you're playing as Joel and Ellie, and it's their journey, not yours.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you on that one. It kind of boils down to who are you playing as, yourself or the person in the game. And I kind of like I like it how in Skyrim you can change your view, so you can play as third person or first person. And I think for me, any time that I can customize my character or anything, I really want it to be in third person so I can see how cool I look. So I would never want a game to be like in first person, but then you can change your outfit or something and you can't even see it. So there's been a few games like that, but for me, I personally like third person a little bit better than third person.
Going back to John's topic with Borderlands, I mean, you're only going to play that through first person, but you can sort of like come out occasionally and just have a look at the new weapons that you've got, which is what as a game you want to do, because you've killed the boss, you've got a really cool weapon, you want to see it, you don't want to just be firing it, you want to have a look at it.
I was gonna say with something like Dead Space, where like I think that's perfect in the third person view, where like I hear something, I'm like, oh my god, like what was that?
Right.
And like maybe you can catch a glimpse of it in the back of the character. I'm like I like turn around, like in the first person I'm like, oh, but in the third person I'm like, oh my god, like how does the character not see that? Again, I'm controlling the character, but like I just feel like, oh my gosh, like I cannot believe like the character didn't hear that or didn't feel that. Like, oh, that was like bone chilling.
Talking about Dead Space, I kind of like the, because I think that was more kind of like, it was third person, but I think it was kind of more like an over the shoulder kind of view. So like your guy was a little bit bigger than the screen, so you couldn't really see as much, and I really think that played into like the scariness of that game.
I would just say with third person, it's quite nice, especially in like a survival horror game, where you can actually just use the camera to check around corners instead of just as first person where you just have to literally go down that corridor. At least you could check with the camera.
Oh god, I can never do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll peek around with third person, and then I'm just like, nope, I don't even care. I don't care. I can't even see it. It's
run.
Yeah. Yeah, like Outlast. Man, I played. That wasn't first person. I played about 20 minutes of that, and I was like, nope, can't do it. Didn't want to do it. It was terrible. So that was a pretty scary first person game for me.
Oh god, like seeing like creepy eyes, like seeing. I haven't played it, but like seeing whatever like is chasing you. Oh my god, that'd be terrifying.
Yeah. It was pretty terrifying. I played 20 minutes and I was like, nope, I'm done. Can't do it. It was bad.
You got scared, you were out.
Yeah, right. I was done. But that's going to do it for us today on the BetaCast. You can catch us all at icedj.weebly.com. You can find me, my Twitter handler is MX2Nerd, and you can find Brett at
Brett Woodmansee, WOODMANSEE, Woodmansee. It's 3 words.
And Noah?
At Noahgrams, NOAHGRAHAM. Actually, Noahgrams 17, sorry. So just put 17 on the end of that. I don't use Twitter much.
Right. And that's going to do it for us, and we'll catch you next time.
Take care, guys.
See ya.